Think it's too early to start your fall garden? Think again. Today we're going to be harvesting hopefully all of the green beans that are in 2 of my green stalks so that we can get them replanted for another full succession of green beans in the green stalks. Green stalks are amazing for succession sowing. I love doing things like green beans in them. Number 1, because the bugs don't eat them down when they're seedlings, and number 2, because it's just so easy to replant in here without having to go into the garden, get on your knees, get dirty. It's just super easy. So let's harvest today's bounty and prep for the next one. But first, I need to get this gate set up to keep the dogs from coming up on this deck. They can't come up here anymore because Mama has had her babies. They're at least a week old. I have no idea when they are going to start to try and fly, but I want to make sure that the dogs are not up here when they do. So we're gonna leave them tucked behind the spinach, which by the way is doing incredible. So is the basil. So is this little toothache plant that I stuck in one of the pockets. Let's see if I can turn this without upsetting the mama bird who is behind me yapping. So I know these are small flowers on here, and that's because I'm growing it in the green stock, but I think I might go ahead and harvest some of these this year and give them a try. This was a novelty. I just wanted to see what it was like. I've grown it once before, but I didn't harvest and I didn't really pay much attention to it because my garden was just so prolific in other ways. But this is the toothache plant, and if you chew on the flower bud here, it is supposed to numb your mouth, so it's good for toothache pain. So I'm wondering if I can freeze dry these and just tuck them away in case we ever need them in the future. And over here where the stairs come up, this is where we will put this gate. This is an old puppy pen contraption thing that I have. It's really old, it's really dirty, but it's what I've got available to block the dogs from coming up the stairs. I'm gonna tuck it in this way behind this green stalk, open it wider this way, and I can still get through there if I need to. I can just accordion it back up, but now these little baby birds will be safe from the dogs. But what we really got to do is harvest all of the green beans that we didn't pick a couple of weeks ago when we were harvesting. They were all a little bit too small. Now they are just on the cusp of being too big. I might leave 1 plant in here. I typically do. I've got 2 planters to do today. And just let it fully dry on the vine so I have fresh seeds for next season. So that's my plan, that's my goal, and if we do that, then I will certainly bring you back and show you what that looks like so you can save your own seeds if you're not used to doing that with your beans. I prefer them when they are skinny like this. They're so tender and so delicious, but they are certainly good as their pods fill out like this. If they're too large, I can always cut them into bite-sized pieces and freeze dry them to use in the dog's food. So even these teeny tiny ones that were just flowers when I harvested the last one, I'm gonna go ahead and take those because I wanna pull the plants so we can get new planted. And that is part of the upper tier. Sometimes they can be hard to see in here. I know I missed some last time, so I'm gonna try to be really diligent, and then I'm gonna show you how I pull the plants out of my green stalks. I missed showing you that last time. I thought I was recording and I wasn't. And there's an easy way for you to get your plants out of the green stalk without taking all of the soil out with it. So I'm not even going to have to add any soil into here in order to plant new. I'm just going to do a little bit of amending. So when I snip off the beans, I'm snipping them off like this so that I don't have to trim that once they come inside. We have 69 days until our first average frost, so about 10 weeks, and this is the perfect time to sow 1 last round of beans. And I'm gonna go around and around so I don't miss any pockets, and I'm trying to keep the top tier plants separate. It is a scorcher today, and I chose to wear jeans, black jeans no less. There is a lot of construction going on next door. I tried to wait it out, but they've been going since early this morning, so hopefully I can block most of that out on the audio. There's a lot of power tools in use. When I did the first harvest out of these green stalks a couple of weeks ago, I think we got 1 pound 6 ounces. And since then I have picked some for fresh eating, and I did not weigh those, but we'll certainly get a weight on these because I think it's important to know how much food, especially protein-rich green beans, you can grow in 2 square feet of vertical growing space, which is what the GreenStalk is famous for. This thing is still trying to set flowers. I can't believe it. There are still new flower buds on here, but they're gonna be few and far between, and I'd rather have a whole new flush for fall. That about does it on the lower tiers of one of the green stalks. That's quite a bit of green beans. That's like 3 pints worth right there. And we've still got all the beans on the top tier. One of the reasons I like to do the saving of the beans on the first succession sowing is so I know that they're going to get totally dry before the first frost. If I were to wait and try to get some off the second, I may not have that window. We may get snow before they fully dry. So that's why I like to save seeds from the first sowing. I've got one more green stalk to do. So let me do that really quick. And then we're gonna pull these plants. I'll show you how I do that, and we'll get some beans planted. So I'm on my last couple plants here on the second green stalk, and we about filled this bowl up. It's pretty heavy. I'm thrilled with this, especially considering this is the second major harvest I've done off of these plants in addition to fresh eating. That's quite a bit of food for a small space, or for container gardening, urban gardening, backyard gardening. I mean, that's a decent yield. And especially considering we are gonna plant more and do at least twice this much again, as long as the snow doesn't come early, or the cold, I should say. We're just gonna get these last few off, and then we are going to get these plants pulled, get more planted. All right, I think that about does it. So we'll get the water turned on. Well, first I wanna take a look at the ones that I didn't pull and see if I wanna leave them all. So let's do that. But look at this. That is a very nice yield for green stalks. So we've left all the top tier plants. They're gonna get watered in really well today because I've gotta get the rest of the plants out. So we have quite a bit of pods on here. They're nice and swollen, so they really shouldn't take more than the 10 weeks we have left. That I think is going to be plenty of green bean seeds. That was just 2 plants. And then we've got this plant, he's dripping with beans as well. This one is just dripping with beans. This one has beans on it as well. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave all the ones in the top tier, and these will become my 2026 garden seeds. All right, let's get the water turned on, and we're gonna get this emptied and then refilled. And the first thing we'll do is give the beans up top a really good watering. And I do fill my tub up top up to water, but then I also water the individual pockets because I just don't feel that the watering system on here gets all the pockets adequately hydrated, which is why this tends to dry out so much. So I'll usually fill this up every other day, but also do about a 10-second hose or spray into each pocket. It makes watering all of these green stalks a little bit time consuming, but I will take that for the convenience of being to garden standing up. Okay, you guys, the birds are back, but it's 2 of them and they both have something in the mouth for the babies. Is it the mom and the dad? What kind of birds are these? There's one up there. And there's one on the fence post. And they both have something in the mouth for the babies. I didn't know wild birds did that. I didn't know any birds did that other than penguins. Since when do daddy birds take care of babies? I'm dying to know. So these are gonna stay, but I'm gonna water them really well. This one doesn't have the spinner base, which is unfortunate. I love the spinner base, but I have 2, I think, that don't have it, and they're just awkward to turn. They're heavy. I would recommend the spinner base if you, or even the spinner base on wheels. I have one of those too, and that works great. But just the one on wheels is awkward to move. If you don't plan on moving it, it's fine. I wasn't counting pockets. Did we get them all? I think this is the last one. All right, now that these have a good watering, they should be good for a couple of days and produce a lot of nice seeds for me for next year. And so for the ones down here, I am gonna just water the heck out of the pocket as I pull the plant out, and you'll see how incredibly clean these roots come out. Now, I know a lot of people just like to snip them at the base of the plant and leave the roots in place because green beans and peas, they pull nitrogen in from the air and they fix them in their roots, and so that is available to them. That's why they don't need a nitrogen fertilizer, and if the roots are left in and they start to decay, that nitrogen becomes available to other plants. But since I'm gonna put more green beans in here, I don't need to worry about leaving the roots, and I would like to show you how I do this. So we're gonna at least pull these. Look how clean those roots came out. I didn't lose any soil. I am not going to have to refresh that GreenStalk for a fall planting or even for a spring planting next year. I'm just gonna have to amend it. And this is going to provide a nice wet soil to plant the new seeds into. I just love doing it this way. And these are just gonna go right into my compost pile, which I do feel a little guilty about, and I'll show you why. Because I have the Aero bin composter, and that is just on the other side of that deck. But usually I just toss things straight in, and we'll see if I do that today or if I want to be a little more careful, because we have something that looks like it's coming to full planthood growing in there, and I'm not sure that I want to disrupt that because I'm curious. I'm curious to know what it is and if it'll produce anything. I think this is pretty much good to go. I really did miss a lot the first time around, especially on the second GreenStalk. They just camouflage in there really well. All right, let's get this composted. See my compost bin? If I throw something on top, I'm gonna flatten that, squash whatever plant it is. I wonder if it's the same as that mystery squash plant right there. I guess we're just gonna throw them on top of here. But you know you've got good soil in your compost when you've got plants growing out of it. So are you planting a fall garden? And if so, is it time for you to do so? And If so, what are you planting? So I'm gonna definitely be doing some peas and some green beans. I still have to go down and get that pea bed ready, but those are so easy to plant, and so are the green beans. So we're gonna whip through those in no time. I think I also brought out some squash plants. I might tuck a couple more of those in because those are like 60-day varieties, and we have 69 days before our next frost, or first anticipated frost. What else? So peas today, green beans today, maybe some squash, and then carrots if I can get to carrots. So I was getting ready to do this today, earlier this morning, and I went into this giant shoebox that I have with all of my peas in it because I love peas. I love snow peas and I love snap peas. I love snow peas for stir fry and salads and fresh eating, and I love snap peas for sauteing, for fresh eating, chopped up in salads, and now mostly for freeze drying amazing snacks. And I didn't get many peas this year at all because the heat just wiped them out. So I pulled out my peas, and I kid you not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 duplicate packs of seeds that were the same varieties as ones I have open. So I just significantly reduced the space that I have I'm using in that shoebox for peas. The whole reason I'm using a shoebox is because I couldn't fit these in the photo cases that I used to organize my seeds. So these are all empty. No wonder I end up buying things I don't need and not having things that I do want, because I don't keep my seeds as organized as I should, even though I use these photo cases to help with that. So I consolidated all of them. So what I have for peas is I have Sugar Snap. I love these. And so those, hang on. So I have Sugar Snap and I have Sugar Bon. Sugar Bon is a much smaller pea. It's a snap pea. But it's only a 55-day variety. So my plan here is I'm not going to plant these unless for some reason these fail. But I have these, and now I know I have these. I had 3 packs of these, and I just married them all into one. I have Golden Sweet. It's the only of this variety that I have, just this one packet. It was sold to me for the 2021 growing season, so I probably bought it late 2020 or early 2021. I don't even remember growing these, but it is open, and so I might get these used up today. We'll see. I've got the Magnolia Blossom Tendrils. So this is a snow pea that has really beautiful flowers on it, and these are all about 60 days, and since we are 69 days out, they're going to take about a week to sprout, so we should be right on target, and they can handle a light frost too. So perfect time to be getting your peas into the ground for your fall garden. And then I have the Sugar Magnolia Tendril. So this is a purple pea. So the pod is purple, but again, it turns green if you cook it. And this is a snap pea. Green Beauty. So I had more Green Beauties than anything, and this is a snow pea, and I love these, but I think I had like 6 bags of these. So I stuffed them all into 2 bags. Now I know what I have. Now I know what I don't need to buy next year. So if you're new to my channel, I would not let myself buy any seeds this year because I have gone crazy in the past, and I'm trying to work through the seeds that I have, first to save money, but also to use up what I have invested in terms of seeds before they continue to lose their ability to germinate. So I've already run into some of that. I've been buying seeds to grow exclusively from seeds since 2020, I think, 2019 or 2020. I've got Sugar Daddy, and then Sugar Bon, and then the Green Beauty, the Magnolia Blossoms, the Golden Sweet, and then straight Sugar Snap peas, the Mammoth Melting, and the sugar magnolia trendle. So clearly I like peas, and I do. I love them. Even my son was like, why didn't we get any peas this year? So we are gonna fill that bed up. I typically plant things really close together because I am an urban gardener. I am a small space gardener. And we're just going to put a lot of amendments in there to make sure that all of these have the nutrition, their nutrition needs met, so we have the best chance of them growing. And then, like I said, I'm gonna try to tuck a couple more squash plants in. I have not gotten one zucchini yet. I keep looking, I'm not seeing any fruit out there. Ugh, this has been a terrible year in my garden. And then I've got some carrots. So I'm gonna pull the broccoli plants and I'm gonna pull the Brussels sprout plants that are at the top up here because they're just not making it. They're not worth the space right now. So we'll get some other things planted. But for right now, what we are gonna do for sure, we may not get to these until later this evening when it cools down because it is really hot. I'm all sweaty and ugh. But we are definitely gonna do these beans right now. So in here, and I had to rubber band it because, you know, beans and peas are thick and it makes it hard to close and then they break, but I just rubber band it, it's fine. These are a bush bean that I grew in 2023, but I couldn't remember what variety they were, so I don't know what these are, but they are a bush bean. These are the Kalima beans. These are the ones I was growing, but I'm not sure that I wrote the right name on here. It was either the Kalima or the other brand I mentioned. Now I can't remember what that was. Yeah, I don't remember. Ugh. Anyway, so we have plenty. Between these two, we have plenty of beans to grow. I also have this purple bean here. This was purchased for the 2021 growing season. I have a beans caprice, which I think is also a purple. This is a 60-day variety. And this was purchased for the 2020 growing season, and I still have some of those. This came with my GreenStalk. There's no date on it. I think my GreenStalks are 3 and 4 years old. I have a few provider beans. I do like these beans, and this is a 50 to 60-day variety. So I did get a comment on my channel a few weeks ago when I harvested green beans and talked about doing a second planting, and this person was surprised that you can get a second planting of green beans. Yeah, they're bush beans, right? They usually have about a 60-day full maturity cycle. So absolutely you can get some beans planted, and bush beans don't need to climb up a trellis, so you can grow them in a container like a GreenStalk, a pot, anywhere you have some space to tuck some beans, you can have some food and especially some protein. And then this is the last of my dragon tongue bush beans, which they're not doing much down there either. I do have some bush beans down next to them that have produced, and so I'll go grab those. But yeah, so this is what I have for beans. So I think I'm gonna do my the seeds that I saved because they're open. I'll do the Kalimas. I think that's what we'll do. Since these are probably the newest from 2023 and they're not open, I'd have to get scissors to open them. I think we're gonna work through this bag, and then if we go through them all, then we'll just start popping some random ones to start using up all of these seeds. They're all bush beans. Some of them are gonna be a little bit wider, some of them are gonna be a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, they're all gonna be amazingly delicious and nutritious. So let's pop some seeds in. And I'm gonna start right here. I've got a bag of worm castings, and I am just gonna put some in the pockets, and then we're gonna drop in seeds. This is so easy. And I'm just gonna put a little in each one. Doesn't take much, and they really don't need a lot of fertilizer. They're gonna do just fine. But I like to go through all the pockets and do this first. I can see it on top of the soil, so I know which ones I've done and which ones I still need to do. So that's a little tip, especially when you're working with a GreenStalk that has 30 planting holes. It's easy to get mixed up. Did I plant something there? Did I put fertilizer there? So I like to do each step in full before moving on to the next. So just a little sprinkle of this. I'm just gonna lightly mix it in, very lightly. And as I water, because I do top water, right? I don't just do the container at the top. That will feed down through the soil. They'll have access to it. All right, those are done. And when I say gardening in small spaces, I mean that. small, tight spaces, but we get it done. So I'm just gonna drop 2 seeds into each pocket, one on the left and one on the right. And I'm not gonna push them in until I've got them all loaded, so I know that I have placed 2 seeds in each pocket. I think we'll have enough of these beans for both green stalks. And when I do the lettuce green stalk, when I redo that one, I'm gonna do half lettuce and half spinach. This spinach is still doing great, but I would like to get some to preserve for winter, either by blanching and freezing it or freeze drying it. I love having that extra green nutrition on hand for the winter. Plus I use it in my dog food. And it probably would have been smarter to leave the green beans that were on the lower part of the plant, because these are, you know, hanging down and they're gonna cause some light issues for the seedlings, but the ones on the bottom weren't as plentiful as the ones on the top, so we'll make it through. And we still have plenty, I think, for the other green stalk. And so with the beans on either side, I just push it down into about the first knuckle depth. And then we'll get these watered in really well. I did bring the green beans that we harvested inside because it is hot. It's like 90 now. It is really hot. So the soil is nice and warm. These should germinate quickly and give us a nice fall harvest. And I think that was all of them in this planter. So I'm gonna get all of the planters done and then we'll water. Now it'll be really important to keep consistently watering these for a few weeks. Well, I mean, it's a green stalk, it's a container, so really always. But if the soil dries out in any part of the sprouting stage, then the seed is going to die. So this will just be a morning routine to come out here and just make sure that the seeds are staying wet. And we'll just help nurture them through to a good fall harvest of green beans. So I've got 2 green stalks done. We just need to do this one where we have some bare spots, and I have just a few of those. I think it's the Kalima beans left. At least that's what I had written on here, but I've just been racking my brain, and I think these are Canter. I think these are Canter, and I think that that's my favorite. I just wrote the wrong thing on the seed packet, but regardless, they're good beans, and we've almost gone through all of them. That's all I have left. Like literally, that's all I have left, other than, you know, those few very, very old packets of the different types of seeds, and then the bush beans that I don't know what they are from 2023. So we're gonna use these up. If we can put any more, we will. Look at how beautiful this spinach is doing. It's 90 degrees. What? I love the green stalks. Don't have any in this bottom pocket, so we're gonna put a little fertilizer in there. And where else? We've got 2 here, so I've only got 1 in this one, so I'm gonna add a little fertilizer in there. Oh, Mama's probably not liking me shaking her babies up like this. I can do 1 right here, and I can do 2 down here, because this one's been pretty much mowed down, chomped off. And this one's not doing so hot, so we'll put a new one there. And 1 down here. And that's it. So I'll get that mixed in, drop in 2 seeds, and I'm gonna not cover them, so I know that they're there, so that I've already done that pocket. That is a tip with the green stalk. We're gonna do 1 here. We're gonna do 1 right here. We're gonna do 1 right here. 2 here. Yeah, I got 2 there. And I missed this one. One right here. Right here. Where did my cup go? So 1 here. We got 2 there. I need 1 up here where I put the fertilizer. And we have like 5 beans left. Not bad. I'm very proud of myself for using up all of my stock and not buying new seed packets, which I clearly didn't need to do. That was a challenge to myself for the 2025 growing season. All right, now we just need to get these buried. So I think it's only on the lower 3 tiers. So I'm just gonna look for those white seeds, each tier, push it in knuckle deep, cover it up. And that's it for the 3rd tier. I hope I'm not making these baby birds dizzy. I do feel kind of bad, but leaving the seeds on top of the soil really helps you keep track of where you've planted them and where you still need to. I'm gonna start with my hands. They are dirty. And since I don't know exactly which pockets, I'm just going to hit them all with a little bit of extra water. Won't hurt them at all. I'm sure they'll appreciate it on such a hot day. I'm trying not to get the leaves wet so they don't burn. Although this deck doesn't get full sun past like 11, so I think we're good. This sun is over that way. Oh, God, I almost watered the birds. Pay attention. All right. So I love this deck for that reason. I have another deck on the other side of my house. It doesn't get any morning sun, but it gets ferocious afternoon sun. And that's it for the beans. We are all replanted for a fall picking. Now we have to do the peas and the carrots. I need to prep the pea bed and the carrot bed. So I think I'm gonna do the prep tonight and we'll plant those in the morning because it is just too hot. It is too hot. I'm getting a little bit dizzy. So that's what we're gonna do. So it'll just be a second for you, but I'll see you in the morning. But before we go in, take a look at this. Look how many beans we got. That is a full canner load for sure if I wanted to can these. I don't know that I will. I might do farmer's market for canning this year. We'll see. These are just so incredibly good, fresh, and canning beans is a heavy, heavy process on them, so we'll see. Here is our pickings from yesterday. I put them in the refrigerator overnight in a plastic bag. I've tarred the scale and we're gonna get an exact weight to see how much we harvested. So this is 2 pounds and 15.1 ounces, so just shy of 3 pounds. We got 1.6 pounds the first time. So that is about almost 4.5 pounds. Plus we did some fresh eating off of the GreenStalks as well, probably 4 meals worth. So we got at least 5 pounds from 2 GreenStalks. So that's about 2.5 pounds per, planting 2 bush beans per pocket. That is pretty darn good for 2 feet of vertical growing space. Not bad. There's actually 3 little birdies in there. They're very snug. Good morning. We've got our seeds. It's a brand new, beautiful day. It's still early enough that it's not hot yet. So we're gonna start by tackling this bed here. This is where we're going to plant our peas. I am going to pull this drip up out of the soil. It's gotten pretty compacted. Then we're going to amend the soil and I'm going to make sure that the drip line is placed well. I'm going to take out all these bamboo sticks and I'm going to overpopulate this bed with peas. I can plant them really close together. And we are going to put 1 bamboo pole next to each divot that I make and each seed that I place so it has something to grow up. And then it can grab onto this chicken wire fence that I have back here that goes up, oh gosh, I don't know, 10 plus feet or so. So that's where we're going to start this morning. So I'm going to start by taking out the bamboo poles, lifting up the drip line, and then putting in some composted manure. I have the drip line looped, so it comes out the head end. It's going to go down the length and then back up and in, so we can essentially get 2 rows of peas in here on drip. This drip line is not a sprinkler, it's just an emitter, and it gets rotated with the second group of beds. And now I can put in some amendments. And again, this is just composted manure. It's what I can buy locally. It works really well, and it's not very expensive. Although it is heavy, it's 40 pounds. And 1 bag ought to do it for this size bed. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take the clumps and unclump them. And then I'm gonna mix this into the top couple inches of the soil, relay the drip line, and then we are gonna mark where we are going to put our peas. Peas are also a nitrogen fixer, just like beans, so they don't necessarily need a lot of nitrogen, but a fresh layer of some sort of compost just helps improve the overall soil quality, and we'll get them off to a good start. But I'm not going to put like a granular fertilizer in here, not with the peas. Might be able to get some carrots in the front here too. That's not a bad idea, except I would need to add an extra drip line because I only have 2 rows. But I think I want to do that because if I'm having a good year on carrots, I don't want to waste that. I have 2 other little beds that I'm going to clean up and plant in, but one of them is going to be for beets, and that's not yet. So we're just going to do 1 other bed of carrots, and it's kind of a small bed, so I would love to get a front row of carrots in here. All right, now I just got to blend this in with the existing soil, which has a lot of peat moss and perlite in it, just to help keep things loose for roots to be able to penetrate down into easily. Whereas if it was just compost, it would be much harder for them to do that because that's pretty thick. And it could have been where rutabagas didn't do well in here. I know they did get mowed down, but I had them in the front here and there really wasn't a dedicated drip line. So I am going to add that 3rd drip line in here. I know it's a small space. It's only probably just under 2 feet wide, but that's okay. Small things like peas and carrots, they do not need a ton of space. And this is pretty long. I forget what it measured at, but it's at least 10 feet wide. And this is reclaimed wood from some of the decks here, and so I lined the inside of it because I don't know, I'm sure this wood was pressure treated, and even though pressure treated wood these days is not done with arsenic like it used to, but I still did line the inside with nursery plastic just to prevent anything from leaching in, just in case. I'm not saying I did a great job on this when I originally did this. I did not know what I was doing, but we're making do and we're learning along the way, because I do everything myself, and this is not my forte. And I won't waste this piece that already has an adapter end on it because I'm sure that I can use that for something in the future. And it's just too hard to pull those adapters out. You need a new adapter, put on the end of this one. And this is part of the reason why I don't wear gloves. It's just so hard for me to hold on to things with something blocking my fingers from feeling what I'm doing. I'm gonna need to heat it up. That'll make it much easier. So I just have to heat the end of this hose to make it a little more pliable, but not too much or it'll get too soft. So just for a second, there we go, we're in. See how easy that is? Now that that is there, I can punch a new hole in the main drip line to tie this in. And I've shown how to use this tool before. It's from Drip Depot, works super well, it's super easy. Now we just need 1 line coming right up the middle. And we're in there, and now I'm gonna go between the 2 I already have in here to do this one. The nipple's on this side, so that's the side I want facing into the bed. And I can plug this right in. And then this will go in. And we'll tie it down and we'll figure out where we want it to end into the main line on the other side. I think this is going to work really well. So much better than before. Then we need our punch tool. It can go right there. That's pretty perfect, I think. Ooh, there was water at the end of the line here. Now I'm just going to anchor this line down and we can plant some peas. And I have to wash my hands. I've changed my mind a little. I'm going to put 4 sprinklers or 3 sprinklers in here. No, I'm going to do at least 4. I just have to grab another 1 or 2. And that way, I know everything is going to get adequate coverage. I'm going to grab 2 more sprinkler heads. I just want to be sure that everything gets watered well and survives. So, you know, the emitter or the drip emitter, it's like every, I think 4 inches on here, but you might be putting a seed where there isn't exactly a drip emitter. So I'm adding sprinklers. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 5 sprinklers. So I just need 5 pieces of straight hose that I can tie into them, about this length. So there's 2, 3, and this is my least favorite part of doing drip, is all these little tiny connections because it kills my thumbs. Now I need 5 adapters that'll tie into the main hose line. We're going to heat up our hoses with the lighter and push them on as easily as we can. It's much easier when they are soft. And the problem is if you overheat it, it just starts bending on you and you can't push anything into it. So you can't overheat these hoses and make it work. And it's super easy to overheat them, which means you'll just have to wait until they cool back down and try again. Can you hear the background noise here? I don't know if that's cicadas or what, but it is noisy. I'm already hot and sweaty and we haven't even started planting yet. This is why I wear my hair up. If I'm gonna have a garden day, I'm gonna be outside at all, I like to wear my hair up because now it feels all gross in the back of my neck. Needle nose pliers work really great, and use those to push because this will do a number on your thumbs. I really should just go get them, but sometimes I can be really lazy. I'm gonna need a new lighter. I have one inside. If I have to go inside to get the lighter, I'll get the needle nose pliers too. Yep, okay, let me get a new lighter and the needle nose pliers. New lighter, needle nose pliers, and 2 more sprinklers, which I think is gonna be perfect. So much easier. No painful thumbs. And the sprinklers come with an adapter built in. They also give you an adapter that you can use to tie in to your main line, but I take those off and save them. So we're just gonna light this on one end to warm it up. Okay, we're lit, we're heating, not too much. Now while it's warm, we're gonna push that on and twist until it's sitting flush against the base of the sprinkler. And then we'll get him tied in just a minute. We gotta do that 4 more times. Oh, some things just take way too long. Perfect, that was so easy. And then we just need the punch tool to tie these in to the main line. We're dripped, or I should say, we are re-dripped. We are re-dripped and ready to plant. Now we're going to use this dibbler tool. 1 inch spacing on these, which is perfect for peas. You can give peas about 2 inches, up to 2 inches of space. So I will just put 1 in every second hole. And if I put the first one in the last hole I did, I can just continue all the way down the row. I plant things pretty close together. Now we can drop in our peas. So I'm going to do some snow peas and snap peas. I love both. We're going to start with the Green Beauty. And these seeds, by the way, well, not all of them, but 2022. Because I did Mary packets together, but they're getting old. Can you see this? It makes it so easy. Just so easy to drop one in, and then we'll come back and cover them up. That looks great. And I'm going to do snow peas in the second row. Those were the snow peas, my mistake. Now we're going to do sugar daddies in the second row. So these are snap peas. Before we cover these up, we have to put our bamboo poles in. So I'm going to stick one pole in between every pea. And that's just going to help guide them up to the trellis. And you'll see here in a minute what that looks like. So I'm going just kind of behind them, but spaced between the peas. It's going to give them something to grab onto so they can find their way to grow up. If you don't give them something to hold on to as they're sprouting and starting to grow, they'll just grab onto each other and become a matted mess on the ground. We barely even touched the seed packets. I still have so many peas left, so I guess I'm not ordering new peas for next year. I still have a lot to get through for those. But we certainly can start ordering some other stuff. I really could have just dropped these in the divot holes that we didn't plant them in. That would have been a great idea. And then what I do up here is I'll take this and I will just press it under so it's not like sticking up and out and in the way. And for the peas in front, I'll probably use smaller ones and just lean them into these, but I mean, I do have enough of the big ones. I don't know, maybe I'll do the big ones, we'll see. So I'm pushing them down enough to get them under, and then I pull them back out a little to stay behind. And this is what I've done for like 4 years now, I think. No, more like 3, because I grew them in buckets in 2020, and that worked so good. These should germinate in just a few days, I would think. Beans too, it's so hot. It is right now, I just checked when I went in to get the pliers and the lighter. It is 80 degrees, feels like 90, 60% humidity. It's gonna be a hot one. And the next 3 days are gonna get hotter and hotter and hotter each day. So I'm glad I'm getting this done today and early. Well, it's not super early anymore, it's like 10. Everything takes time, at least for me. I don't know about for you. Yeah, I can get away with the short ones, I think. I know I can, I've done it before. This looks a little congested and messy, but it works really well. And there we have it. Peas are in trellis. I'm just gonna cover them with some dirt, and then we can move on to doing a front row of carrots. I've got Cosmic Purple, this purple black one, St. Valerie. I like the St. Valerie. We're gonna do one more bed of carrots, but it's shorter and about the same width. You don't really need to cover these. I cover them with a board until they germinate. The seeds are so tiny. Spacing on here is 2 to 3 inches apart. And we know I hate thinning, so I'm gonna lay this in here so I can guesstimate the 2 to 3 inches apart. Hey, I'm doing actually really good at this comparatively. I'm only dropping 2 to 3 seeds. This is awesome. 1, 2, 2 seeds, 1, 2. 2 seeds. 1, 2. 2 seeds. 1, 2. 2 seeds. You guys, I'm actually only dropping a couple of seeds. This is awesome. It's because I don't have gloves on. If I had gloves on, there'd be a million of them. 1, 2. 2 seeds. 2 seeds. 1, 2. And I did it. And we even still have some. These are all going to have to be watered in really, really well. But we still have more carrots to plant, and I want to get some summer squash planted as well. We still have just enough time to do that. So let's move on to that next. This is the little bed I'm going to put carrots in. This is also the bed that I planted beans in and some squash plants. There's still a little one hanging on here, but the roly-poly's got most of the stuff when I first planted. So I've just put some compost in. I'm just going to work this in, and this is going to be carrots. And then we have one more little spot I want to do to add just a few more of the squash plants. And we should be good for a couple weeks when I want to do the beets, the lettuce, and the spinach. It is so hot today. It just feels like it's like 96. I think we're inching up there. I just fixed these drip lines in here, so those should be good now. Just breaking up all these clumps. We'll get this mixed in. Gotta love the smell of manure in the morning. This should be good, especially since not a lot of nutrients were taken out of this bed this year when I prepped it in the spring. So in here, I think I'll try some of the purple carrots maybe. Maybe I'll do 1 orange and 1 purple because I don't usually grow those. So let's try those. This is the Pusa Aceta Black. It's an India heat tolerant, perfect for hot summers. And we have a lot of seeds. We're gonna do the same thing, just a straight line. And then this will be our measure for every 2 to 3 inches. And then I just have to get some boards to cover these up and the other carrots too, because that method works really well. I think I'm going to stick with these because they say they're heat tolerant. So let's give these a good try. And we'll do the orange ones on the front. Okay, we still have a lot of these seeds left. They give you a ton of carrot seeds and they're so tiny. They last a really long time. They give you hundreds of them. We'll leave this guy here. He's not doing much, but he's also really not in the way. These seeds are kind of big too, not super tiny. Carrots are planted. Now I gotta tamp them in, put a board over them, well, get them watered, and put a board over them. But hopefully we'll have a full bed of fall carrots. The seeds are so small that you really don't want to bury them. You just want to make sure they have good soil contact. I know I say I'm not good at growing carrots. That's because I hate thinning. I do know how to plant carrots. And I will go back and do the first bed we did as well, right before I water tonight, because we still have one more bed to do. And that's in here. There's not a ton of room. I could pull these beans. These are the beans I was talking about that I was gonna harvest, but some of them I came down and looked, and some of them are just pretty swollen, and they just are kind of bendy, although some of them are good. A lot of them are actually good. I'm gonna pull these plants, and I'm just gonna take the good beans, and then that will open this up for 2 more squash plants. So I'm gonna pull these plants, and we're going to salvage the good beans. We'll compost the ones that are past their prime because we already have quite a bit of seed growing in the top tier of the GreenStalk. So I'll take these in and we'll get these beans saved. I brought the beans inside to get them off the plant, and as I was just about ready to do that, look what I found. I found the nitrogen nodules on the roots. So I can cut these off and I can put these back in the garden and add some free nitrogen to my soil. That's pretty cool. Not all of them have a lot, but yeah, that's why you don't really want to rip the plant up by the roots, because that's fixed nitrogen that will break down in the soil and become available to other plants. So now we have some space for some squash. I'm just gonna add a little bit of compost on here. And then the other thing I'm gonna do on these beds, since they sprout, is I'm gonna put cardboard down as mulch for the peas and the carrots. I've got all these volunteer tomato plants in here. Oh, and they're starting to set fruit and flowers. So I'm gonna leave those. And I'm gonna do just 2 squash plants in here. I'm going right over the top of this straw. There isn't much. It's been picked through by birds and it's fine. I will re-mulch this with cardboard. I'm gonna do a couple seeds of the gray and the long white of Palermo, hoping for 1 germination on each. So this is the long white of Palermo, and then the zucchini gray on the other side. 2 seeds. And those will get watered in, and we're good. So we have most of our fall planting done. Beans, carrots, peas, and a couple end of season squash. Thank you so much for joining me as I started my fall planting in the heat of August. If you are also growing in small spaces, what is your favorite way to succession sow? And if not, what are you planning for your fall garden? Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Sunday Fun Day. My name is Kelly. You're at A Better Choice Homestead. I do hope you'll come back and visit again soon.